I spent 3 months living with a host family outside Nagoya during a language immersion program, and toward the end of my stay, I asked the mother, Keiko, a question I'd been holding on to since my first week there. What's the one thing that keeps this house so consistently orderly? I expected a long list. Maybe a cleaning schedule, a family chore chart, some elaborate system I'd need to study for hours to understand. Instead, she paused, thought for a moment, and gave me an answer so simple I initially dismissed it as too basic to actually matter. She said, "We never let anything touch the floor that doesn't belong there, even for a second." At first, this sounded almost too obvious to be a real secret. Of course, things shouldn't sit on the floor. Everyone knows that in theory. But over the following weeks, as I paid closer attention to how this single principle actually operated in her household, I realized it wasn't a vague suggestion at all. It was a strict, absolute rule, applied with a level of consistency I'd never witnessed in any home before, and it changed how I understood the entire concept of household order. This one habit, when followed with genuine discipline rather than occasional effort, doesn't just reduce clutter, it fundamentally restructures how a home functions, how it feels, and how much mental energy its inhabitants spend simply existing within it. This script explores exactly what this habit means, why it's so powerful, and precisely how to implement it in your own life starting today. The habit itself sounds deceptively simple. Nothing that doesn't belong on the floor is ever allowed to rest there, not even temporarily, not even for 30 seconds while you handle something else. This means no bags dropped by the door while you take off your shoes. No stack of mail set down on the ground while you search for your keys. No pile of laundry sitting in a hallway just until I get to it. No shoes kicked off and left wherever they land. The floor, in this philosophy, is reserved exclusively for furniture, rugs, and items specifically designed to live there. Nothing else, ever, under any circumstances. Keiko explained that this rule isn't really about the floor itself, but about what the floor represents. It's the largest, most visible surface in any home, and it's also the easiest place to set something down without thinking, precisely because it requires no decision about where something goes. When you drop something on the floor, you're not choosing a home for it. You're avoiding the choice entirely, deferring the decision to some future version of yourself who will supposedly deal with it later. And because the floor has no natural boundaries, no drawer edges, no shelf limits, it can absorb an almost unlimited amount of clutter before it starts looking obviously chaotic, which means the mess creeps up gradually, silently, until one day you look around and wonder how so much accumulated without you noticing. By eliminating the floor entirely as an acceptable resting place for anything except its designated furniture, you remove the single largest clutter magnet in your entire home. I've tried elaborate organizational systems before, color-coded bins, labeled baskets, detailed weekly cleaning schedules, and they all eventually collapsed under the weight of their own complexity, usually within a few weeks of enthusiastic initial effort. What made Keiko's single floor rule so different was its almost brutal simplicity. There was no system to maintain, no schedule to remember, no categories to sort through. There was just one constant, binding question asked every single time something left your hands. Is this going where it actually belongs? Or is it about to touch the floor? This single question, repeated dozens of times throughout an ordinary day, eliminates an entire category of decision fatigue that complicated systems actually make worse. Complicated systems require you to remember rules, categories, and exceptions, which means they demand exactly the kind of sustained mental effort that we're least likely to maintain during busy, distracted, or exhausted moments, precisely when clutter tends to accumulate most aggressively. A single, absolute rule requires no memory of complicated categories at all. It just requires noticing when something is about to touch the floor and redirecting it somewhere else instead, a decision so binary and immediate that it barely registers as effort once the habit takes hold. This is why one strict, simple rule consistently outperforms elaborate systems that look impressive on paper but rarely survive contact with actual daily life. What surprised me most during my remaining weeks with Keiko's family was watching how this single floor rule triggered a cascade of other positive behaviors, almost automatically, without any additional conscious effort. Because nothing could touch the floor, every object needed an actual, specific home to go to instead, which meant the family had already, out of sheer necessity, assigned proper places for everything they owned. There was no, "I'll figure out where this goes eventually," because the floor wasn't available as a temporary holding zone, forcing immediate decisions about permanent storage that most households postpone indefinitely. Additionally, because shoes couldn't simply be kicked off and left by the door, an actual shoe storage system had been established near the entrance out of pure necessity. Because bags couldn't be dropped anywhere convenient, hooks and designated spots had been created specifically for that purpose. The single floor rule essentially forced the entire household to solve dozens of smaller organizational problems as an inevitable side effect, rather than requiring separate solutions for each individual category of clutter. I began noticing this domino effect in my own apartment once I implemented the rule myself. Within 2 weeks, I'd naturally created specific homes for at least a dozen categories of items I'd never properly organized before, not because I set out to organize them deliberately, but because the floor rule made leaving them unorganized no longer an option. Adopting this habit doesn't require an elaborate weekend project or an expensive shopping trip for storage solutions before you begin. Start simply. Walk through your home right now and identify anything currently sitting on the floor that doesn't belong there. Shoes, bags, stray papers, anything at all. Pick up each item and either return it to its actual home, or if no home currently exists, quickly designate one, even if it's imperfect or temporary at first. The goal isn't instant perfection. It's establishing the baseline understanding that starting today, the floor is off limits for anything except its designated furniture and fixtures. From this point forward, treat every single object leaving your hands as a small test. Is this going to its actual place, or is it about to touch the floor? If you notice yourself about to set something down on the ground out of convenience, pause and ask where it should actually go instead. Even if that requires an extra 10 seconds of effort compared to simply dropping it. This friction feels slightly uncomfortable initially, almost inconvenient, but that discomfort is precisely the point. It's forcing a small moment of intentionality that gradually rewires your automatic behavior. Within a few weeks, you'll notice you're no longer consciously thinking about the rule at all. Your hands simply stop gravitating toward the floor as a resting place, because the habit has become genuinely automatic rather than a rule you're actively enforcing against your own impulses. After months of practicing this single habit, my own apartment transformed in ways that felt disproportionate to the simplicity of what I'd actually changed. Floors stayed consistently clear, which meant rooms visually felt significantly larger and calmer, since floor space is what our eyes use to judge whether a room feels spacious or cramped. Cleaning became dramatically faster, since there was rarely anything obstructing floors that needed to be moved before actually cleaning the surface underneath. And perhaps most surprisingly, my overall relationship with my possessions shifted. Because everything needed an actual home rather than a temporary floor spot, I naturally became more intentional about what I brought into my space in the first place, since items without an obvious permanent home became noticeably harder to justify keeping. This is the real power behind adopting just one habit rather than an elaborate system. Its simplicity means it actually survives long-term, surviving busy weeks, tired evenings, and distracted mornings precisely because there's nothing complicated to forget or abandon under pressure. Keiko's family didn't maintain an impeccably organized home through willpower or exhausting effort. They maintained it through one consistent, absolute rule that eliminated an entire category of decision-making from their daily lives. If you take away just one idea from everything I've shared today, let it be this single rule. Nothing touches the floor except what belongs there, permanently, without exception, starting today.